Shabbat Shalom from Temple Concord. This week our Torah portion has what is probably one of the best known sections in the Torah. It's the Ten Commandments. We know that our people have left Egypt and they're now safely on the other side of the sea, and they're gathered at the base of Sinai, and Moses goes up and receives the Ten Commandments. And the question that has gnawed at me and at many others for centuries actually is the question of how did those 10 commandments make that list? So if we were to do, say, a top 10 list and borrow from David Letterman, what would be the top 10 commandments that we would include? Would they include things like coveting, or things like honoring our parents, or adultery, or would they include other things? Should being kind to somebody else be one of the 10 commandments? You know, clearly not killing, not stealing, those probably make it into anybody's top 10 list. But what about the others? How do we deal with all of that? Our tradition actually teaches that all of the 613 commandments found in Torah are equal. That the 10 commandments are important in the way they were delivered, but the weight they carry as commandments is no different than anything else. And in fact, the way our legal system functions, it's generally the same thing. All of our laws carry the same weight. The way the law is administered, sometimes a different story. And I think too easily we look at the 10 commandments and say, well, that is a top 10 list. And that really is the most important set of laws. And the answer our tradition would say is not so fast. That there are many other rules that are at least equally important that we need to follow. So I hope that when you think about the 10 commandments, and I encourage you over Shabbat to have a conversation about the 10 commandments, and hopefully recognize that you're following at least 5 or 6 of them on any given day, and maybe all 10 of them. I hope you're following at least a few of them. That those 10, while very important, aren't the only commandments, and they're not always the most important commandments. They're actually not even the first commandment. The very first commandment in the Torah comes early on in Genesis, and it's Pru Rabu, be fruitful and multiply. And it's a commandment that's given to Adam. So the first commandment we all face is to be fruitful and multiply. And even that is a commandment that we know many of us don't follow for lots of very good reasons. So our tradition says the commandments are important. We have to wrestle with them. As Reform Jews, we say these are our starting point. We don't necessarily end there, but we certainly start the conversation there. And I think even as we celebrate the giving of the 10 Commandments and the importance that those tablets have and the symbol that they make for us as people, that they aren't the only commandments, and they aren't necessarily even the most important commandments, but they do help us give order to our lives. Shabbat services this Friday evening will be at 6 o'clock here at the temple. Our Magid, Jim Brule, will be leading services. The cantor and I are both going to be off with our 6th graders on our annual 6th grade retreat. Saturday morning services are at 11, preceded of course by Torah study and text study. Sunday morning religious school is as usual, and the coming week, the usual set of activities. Coming up in February, we have all sorts of wonderful things, including the end of February, a wonderful Cantor's concert, including our own Cantor Kari, but 3 other of her Cantor colleagues. Promises to be a great night for the temple. For now, I wish you a conversation, and a Shabbat filled with conversation, about the commandments, and how they rank in importance, and how you include them in your own life, and how you make those choices. Shabbat Shalom for now. Look forward to seeing you at the temple.